Hello everyone, welcome back to another World Zero video. But before this video starts, if you could do me a quick favor and drop a quick like on this video if you find it helpful, and make sure you are subscribed, because YouTube has this weird bug going around where they just unsubscribe people and they untick the bell. So if you can do me a quick favor and just quickly go check those, it'll take less than a second and it will mean the world to me. But let's get right into the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to another World Zero video, and in this video, this is actually a really important video, because I have found a way where you can defeat the entirety of the first dungeon, mainly the last boss. Everything else was pretty easy before, but I found a way for the final boss to be defeated solo. Now, the hardest part is actually getting in by yourself for me, but it's best still play with people. Don't think, oh, this is an alternative. This is more of a final stand where if you're one of 2 or 3 different people left, it's doable. It's even better if you have a low amount of people. But if you are by yourself, you can do it by yourself. So yet again, this video is more based off of if you already went through a dungeon, you're at the final mini boss, but you have 3 other people left and one of them dies, so you're down to 3 people, or even more or less, it doesn't really matter. And you don't think you have enough DPS to actually kill the dragon, so you just don't have enough time to kill it. I have found a way to where the dragon will take however long you need, it just will never fly up. Now, I'll get to that part. I'm not going to go over all the other bosses. If you guys do want a video, though, of explaining how the best ways to defeat all different bosses, let me know down in the comments and I might make it. But let me go ahead and go and do towering into the final boss real fast.
So much pain! So much pain!
Alright, so I've just finished the next to last boss, or the last mini boss in the dungeon. It's taken me about 35 minutes, so that's a pretty good time. And it just occurred to me that I should probably be showing you what my gear is. Now, I'm using some pretty standard stuff. I am using a pet spider as my pet, mainly because this has attack up, so it'll go a little bit faster, bonus walk speed, and bonus health regen just in case. The perks don't really matter what you have, but I would recommend having a lot of positive aggro. So shifted aggro, if it's a positive number without a negative, that means you'll have more. So I would recommend you having a positive aggro if you're doing it with more people, because you don't want it swapping between people all the time. So have one person with a lot of aggro and maybe everyone else has negative aggro or just less aggro in general. I am also using a mid-level Dragonkin, which 9 upgrades. 10 is the max and 8 is the average, but 9 is where you want to, is a pretty good setup. So I have a decent armor with burn resist 90%, which is pretty good, bonus ult charge, and damage reduction, so I can take quite a bit of damage, which shouldn't be much of an issue, and I will not be using my ult a whole lot, so it doesn't really help that much except for the resist burn. My scythe is not even a legendary one. It's a 9 upgrade, 2% lifesteal, and 20% shifted aggro, which is pretty decent. And I already went over my pet. So I'm using pretty decent stuff. It's nothing too insane. So this isn't really going to be all about having the best gear. This is more of just showing that you can do this with really any amount of gear, and I am by myself, as you can see. But I will see y'all whenever I get to the dragon. Alright, so I have just found the key, and the exit is right there on the very last dungeon. So next one is the dragon. Now, I should kind of go over what I'm doing. So essentially, what the dragon does is he will fly up and he will do a one-shot attack, and you have to get behind a shield. And the reason why this boss is so hard is because you have 3 shields to work with. So this boss is a timed boss. You have to get at least 2 health bars done every single time, because there's 6 in total. And just to be safe, you'll have the extra, the 4th drop until he kills you, guaranteed. So you have at least get 2 health bars every time. But what if he didn't fly up? And that is what I figured out today. And I don't want to go in just yet because I want to finish explaining. So what he does is he has a lot of melee attacks. He has the one attack where he flies up and do his giant laser beam, and the meteor attack, which are both pretty deadly. But he always wants to do melee attacks, but what if he never gets to do that melee attack because he never gets close enough to you? That includes the fire breath, the tail hits, the biting, or just, the tail smash, all those different types of attacks. What if he never gets to do those? That is what I'm doing today. And do I have any bonus to walk speed? I don't, but I do have a mount that'll make up for it. Let's go ahead and make sure I have all my best gear for this. I do have my 9 upgrade scythe. Hopefully I get a scythe from this. I have all my best gear. I have my spider pet that has the fireball that can be used quite a bit because it has a very short cooldown. This pet you can't get anymore. It was a Christmas pet. It was given to me by someone to use, which thank you so much for that. And hopefully it'll make up for not being able to melee it, and hopefully this works. So let's go ahead and head in and see if we get this to work. Alright, let's do this. Let's do this. Alright, Mr. Dragon. Let's do this. Single player, this is taking about 40 minutes to do, so I really hope I can get this to work, but let's start off with the fireball. This attack, and then this attack, and we will just keep running around in circles. And I don't think it matters how far away you get from him when you're by yourself. So I can just sit back, do these 2 attacks, and run away. Now you can see I'm slowly chipping away at its health. Not doing the most damage in the world, but he hasn't done an attack yet. As you can see, he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done his meteor attack. He hasn't done the, what's it called? He hasn't done his fly up attack laser beam. But he's like going down really far, and he should have flown up by now just because of how long it's taken. Oop, he got close there. He got really, really close. His arm got close to me. And don't worry, if you feel like you're getting too close, then just back away, even if you really don't know. Just be safe. Just go in when you need to do your attacks. Let me get my fireball in there, and that. There we go. And as you see, we got 1 health bar, but don't worry about getting too close. Don't worry about how long it takes, because you're doing it by yourself anyway. It's better than getting no loot whatsoever. And that's taken about a minute or 2, and he's all the way down. I bet a lot of this is going to be cut out too. So I'm going to see y'all when he's at half health. Alright, and as you can see, he's all the way down to half health, and none of the shields are gone, and there we go, we get those hits in. So none of the shields are gone. All 3 are up. I've been sitting here for about probably like 3 minutes just hitting this guy over and over again, using all my cooldowns as soon as possible. And like, I have no one else in game. There's no one else in the entire server. And let me get the attacks out. Come on, game. There we go. Now this has got to inch forward a tiny bit every time. But he's almost dead. He's almost dead. He's halfway there with not a single shield drop. Now this would be, around this point, would be a really good run with like 10 people dragon without a shield dropping. But I'm by myself. Not a shield has dropped. And I haven't even had any type of threat of death. I could have 0 health right now. I could have 1 health point, and I would not be worried because this guy isn't even getting close enough to do his attacks, which works. Another thing, if you have super high aggro, this does work with people meleeing. So if you have like, somehow you manage to get the pet, your sword, your armor, all for a total of like 100% positive aggro on like Mage of Light, let's say, you should, because I'm pretty sure Mage of Light has a higher aggro rate over just by default. You could have demons and berserkers and stuff hitting the legs of this thing. So if you're a mage, if you like being a healer, I would recommend really focusing on getting your staff, your armor, and your pet to a total of 100 aggro. I would highly recommend doing that because I had a healer do that in the dungeon. It was the easiest one we've ever done because he had full aggro the entire time. Probably over 100% aggro rate because that was absolutely crazy. As I've been talking, you can see the health has gone down very nicely, actually. We're almost all the way down, and this has taken about less than 10 minutes so far. So this boss alone, less than 10 minutes, and I figured this is better than losing a 30-minute tower or spending an extra 10 killing the dragon. And I think he's about to die. Oh, he's very low. And there we go. He's dead. 43 minutes and 22 seconds. And let's see what gear I got for doing that. I got a Dragonkin armor with 8 upgrades. Not the best, but it's still a legendary. I already have a 9. I got a common, a blue, and a green side. Not the best luck in the world. The legendaries, it's still legendary, but that was pretty successful. I was the only one in the dungeon. As you can see, no one else is in the server, and I managed to get my way all the way through the dungeon in 43 minutes. Most of that was spent on the boss. 10 minutes of it, let's say, were on the boss. So that was relatively easy. But yeah, guys, legitimately, if you're a healer, I would recommend having full aggro, and you can do that. It's relatively easy, especially if you do some just basic attacks on it using your orbs or whatever. It's pretty easy to keep aggro, especially if you have, because the Mage of Light, and I'm pretty sure the Defender or the Paladin, sorry, have a default just higher aggro rate. So if you're a Mage of Light, make sure all your stuff has positive aggro on. Make sure you have no negative aggro, and you should make your dungeon for your other dungeon people, other friends in your server, relatively easy. But I have a task for y'all. Go do this. Tell me what time you got, and tell me if you got legendary. I honestly want to know if this glitch has helped anyone out in this game. But I do hope y'all enjoyed this video. I will see y'all later, and goodbye.